Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm going to do a little video here on proper order placement. We'll go through a few different examples. I know I've been asked by a few of you, but essentially this is for Iron Sights because I know he's just going live. So, and he has some questions about it. I was going to hit him up this weekend, but it's just been crazy. So I'll just do a little video for him instead. So, okay, limit orders. Those are the type of orders you want to use. You do not want to be using a market order. I mean, yeah, sure, there's certain times that you can use a market order, but I'll go into that. But you definitely don't want to be using it on a regular basis. I know it's tempting because it's extremely easy to get in and out. You just hit buy, sell, short, or cover, and you're in or out, right? So, but stay away from them because they're basically a blank check to the market makers, and the market makers' job is to pick up shares at the cheapest price, basically, to sell back to us. So they'll do all sorts of crazy things with your money, and that's one thing you don't want to do. I mean, I can tell you stories about using market orders and getting completely fucked. So you want to stay away from them. So we will be using limit orders and stop limit orders. But we'll get into limit orders here first. One of the most common ways people will use it is like this. If you want to get in on a breakout, or if something's breaking down and you want to catch a dip, but you didn't actually set a proper order, you just want in or you just want out. To buy, now remember this is aftermarket, so this information, there's going to be nothing here. It's also the weekend, so this is the bid side, this is the ask side, this is the buyers, this is the sellers. Bid or offer, as well as the ask is known. What you can do if you want into a stock immediately to buy it, you're going to hit the offer, which is the ask, and you can just click the level 2 right there on your best price, because you don't want to be clicking it down below. You can click it, the best price right there, and hit buy. You can also click these numbers up here, the bid and the offer, the bid and the ask up here. So we'll do that as an example. If you wanted in right away, you'd hit the ask and buy. Done. And you're in, right? As long as it's not moving too fast. Because as soon as that offer price goes away, your order will basically be rejected. It'll just kind of sit there and hover in space. So that's a way. If you want out immediately, you would hit the bid. You hear people saying hit the bid. It's a common expression, right? So you hit the bid to get the fuck out, right? That's kind of your panic, right? So you hit the bid, and usually these big candles that kind of come out of nowhere, that's just someone just hitting the bid, right? Or marketing out, and you don't want to do that. That's not the proper way to trade, right? So learn proper techniques, or don't bother trading at all, right? So to get out immediately, hit the bid, it pops in here, and then sell. Done. Order in, order out. So that's one way of doing it. Another way to actually type in your orders and get them placed. Now, this can take a little more skill, but it involves support and resistance. That's how you get proper order placement and executions. And entries and exits they're very important. That the best entry that you can get, it's going to give you way more patience on the trade. So let's say you bought here on this dip, and then it kind of kept going. Well, there's no support around here. Yeah, there's the VWAP, right? But I mean, it's definitely pulling back. So your best chance is placing a support line, and you're going to get support off of the open price. And it tapped twice right at this 1306 level. Yeah, it pulled back in here, but don't worry about that. So if you want to catch this dip, now you'll have to be patient, but patience is key. So it gives you lots of time. If you miss this entire move, now you can just be patient. You can have some different orders set, But the best order to have and the best entry to have, it's most likely going to dip back to support here. So let's fill this in. So we want 200 shares of AMD at the limit price of 1306. Okay. Now you're going to want to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room because you want to make sure that you're going to get an actual fill, right? So if you hit it at 1306, it tapped that price twice. You can see by the wicks of the candle. But I mean, you want to make sure you're going to get entered. So entered. So let's go up by a few cents here. Oops. So we'll go 1308. That should almost guarantee a fill. So then you can hit buy because the price is still up in here, and you hit buy, it's not going to fill, right? So hit buy, and now your order will be sitting on your order entry portfolio box, right? So you'll see that sitting there, and as soon as it taps it, you'll be in, right? So now you caught that dip, you got a perfect entry, now you're good to go. Now how do you sell? Okay, so you can hit you can set up orders for that as well. So again, it's all about support and resistance, right? So we'll set it in here, right? So about 1329, 1330, it's a pretty good chance that it's gonna go up to there and then pull back, right? So you can have an order placed ready to go to take some of your profit, or all of it for that matter. So let's say you only really wanted to pull out half. So let's put up 100 shares, 50% of your position at 1329. Now, like I said, you always want to make sure that you have that little bit of wiggle room because it's not necessarily going to tap that price for sure, right? So let's re-enter that and let's put it at 1325 because that's a nice round number. That's natural resistance right there. So then you'd hit sell. Now your order is going to be just sitting there ready to get sold, okay? So another way to sell, like I went over before, if you just want to take some partial profits, as it's kind of trucking along at these big volume bars, candles, you always want to sell on a push. You want to sell into strength. You don't want to sell into weakness, right? So let's say you wanted to claim some of your shares back in here. You just want to claim some, get some money in the bank. Because don't be afraid of taking partial profits. You got to pay yourself along the way. That way, it'll also give you lots of patience in the trade to really make it work for you. So remember, we're just using this as an example, AMD, because there's some pretty good order entry examples on the short side as well. So, so if you want to take some partials, you can set them as well, just at whatever price you want, right? So let's say you wanted to take some at, I don't know, 13.15, right? To make sure you're going to at least get some. So there you go, you hit sell, right? But you only want 50 shares. So then you hit sell, and it's just going to sit, like I said, on your order box, and it'll be waiting to get filled. So as soon as it taps that price, you'll get a fill. So that's that. That kind of shows you the basics of limit orders, right? So you can buy the breakouts and just kind of quickly get in, hit the offer, the bid. I also showed you how to hit a pullback properly so that you get the best entries, right? So now let's say you want to set a stop because you have to go away for whatever reason. You got to leave. So let's set a stop market order. Okay. So this means that you're in the trade. You got in at 1306, but you want to give a few cents of wiggle room, right? To really make this trade work. So if you got to step away all day, you need to have a trade plan, right? You always need to have a trade plan no matter what, even if you're not stepping away. But if you're stepping away, you want to be able to follow that plan. So a stop market order is basically you're going to want to put all of your shares in. So your entire position of 200 shares at a stop price of, let's say, 13, because it's a nice hold number, right? There you go. So you hit sell, and what a stop market order means is the second it hits that price of 13, okay? So it'll hit 13 and it'll execute it, and it'll give you the basically it'll put it on market, put it out on market, and for liquid stocks like this, you should get a good fill, right? But not necessarily, right? Illiquid stocks, you definitely don't want to be using market orders. But if you have to set a stop, you have to set a stop. Now remember, stop market orders and all these type of orders, they don't work after hours. Like, you won't be protected after hours. They'll fill the next morning on market open. So that's a little food for thought as well. So that's how you kind of get out on a stop order. You can also use that stop order to claim some profit. So let's say you just in case it hits 13.50 and you just want out, you want to claim all your profits, you do the same thing. So a stop market order of 13.50. And that'll get you executed, and you'll sell your whole position at 13.50. So there's that. So now we'll go over a couple short entries, okay? Because there's some nice examples around VWAP and everything else. So now, if you want to get in on weakness, and I don't necessarily suggest doing that, but if you want to get in just as it breaks, let's set this. And VWAP is a good indicator for price action as well. But we'll use a line, right? It just so happens VWAP's right there. So at 13.25, if it breaks that, because you can see it's starting to downtrend here, right? So it's starting to downtrend. If you're not comfortable with shorting pops, which you should definitely get comfortable with doing, not so much shorting weakness. If you want to get in on this, you can set a stop limit order to get in to short it at 13.25. So your stop price of 13.25, and then the most you want to pay for it, right? So, and to make sure that you get a fill, is going to be only by a few cents. So a limit of 13, let's call it, I don't know, 22, just by a few cents, because you want to make sure that you're going to get a fill, right? So, and then you just hit short, and your order's there, ready to go. Even if the price hasn't still, it hasn't quite made it past that point, it'll still sit there, and once it crosses that line, it'll execute. Okay, so let's say you miss this move, it's come down, but you want to short it. Now, with shorting, usually once they break the VWAP, they retrace back into the VWAP. Now, I'll zoom in nice and close here. Give me 1 sec, because I want to show you something. I'm just going to get rid of some of these lines. You see that at the very top, how it just tapped the VWAP? So what's the VWAP sitting at? Sitting at 13.24. So the absolute best entry for you is 13.24. So you can just a limit order on this. So your limit price of 13.24. And then short. And as soon as it, oh, I'm way back here. And then it makes its way down, and then as soon as it taps that price, boom, you're in. But VWAPs are always different depending on the platform. TOS is different than TC2000, as well as on my broker TradeZero, because TradeZero's VWAP is up in this area, right? So you want to give that a few cents too. So before you execute, let's go 13.21. Like, that's pretty close, and it'll almost guarantee you a fill, right? So hit short, there you go. So now it's definitely downtrending. It's extremely weak. You see the close line, the red-green line, your open close, and that can act as support. So if your target, like that should definitely be one of your targets for either a full fill of your position or even a partial position cover. So that's easy to check. That's at 12.90, right? So let's get that price tapped in, and we'll give it a couple extra cents. So we'll go 12. I don't know, 94, right? That'll guarantee a fill, right? And what's a couple cents? So then you just hit cover, and it'll sit there, and it'll be waiting for you. And once it taps that price, you're covered, right? Now, whether it's your full position or partial position. You can also, in order to short, you hit the bid, right, to get in. So if you wanted an instant fill, if you're quick enough and the stock isn't moving too fast for you, especially with these liquid stocks. I mean, the bid stacks up and the offer stacks up, so you should be able to get a fill. And the easiest way to doing it, it's a little lazy, but I mean, you can definitely do it, is just hit the bid, short, in, and you'll be in. It'll execute. Now to cover, hit the offer and cover, done. I recommend having 2 level 2 boxes out for the exact same stock, especially if you're beginning, because on your second, now let me pull one up here. Now on your, I hope that picks it up in the thing, in the video. Yeah, it should. The screen share software is a little bit different. So you type in the ticker. And you can, you want a limit order and get ready with your, like, let's say you got in towards the open, it's a pretty volatile time, and you want to make sure that, let's say you're buying it, you're going to want to set some sort of a stop and get ready to get out. So a good, because it opened at 1306, right? You're going to want to give a little bit of wiggle room. So let's say you have a 10-cent stop, which is pretty standard, right? So 1306. So we'll just go with 12.99 just as an example. So that, there you go, right? Sorry, we'll go 12.96. There's your 10 cents. So, and then you gotta, then your hand can be right on the trigger here, and as soon as you show up that it's on the bid, it hit your stop. I go by bid and ask for hitting stops, and so if it were to hit that 12.96, hit sell, and that's it. You're all covered, right? You're all sold out of your position. You hit your stop, you got stopped out. So that's kind of a little trick that you should have. You know, you're gonna basically know what price it's gonna open up at and what type of stop you're looking at. So have those sell orders and cover orders ready to fire off, because especially at the market open, they can be extremely volatile, and I don't recommend playing the market open whatsoever. You want to give it a couple candles. So I hope that helps out. If there's any questions, leave a message in the box below. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this helped you out a little bit with your orders. Like I said, if you have any other questions, hit me up in the box below, as well as at TrickTrades chat room and screen share. I'll leave the link for that in the comment section as well. All right, thanks guys. Have a good night.